All right, we're live. You're listening to The Connected Calm Life. My name is Lane Kennedy. Dun, 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 dun. And today I have a special friend, fellow long term person in recovery, Dave
Hey,
Yates.
everybody, I'm Dave Yates. Nice to meet you in the audio space or
In
visual if
the
you're watching.
Yeah, right. It's hard to do both. It's hard to do all the things these days, Dave.
But you got to do all the things.
No, it
Otherwise,
makes me
you're
crazy.
not doing enough. That's the that's the
I
message.
don't want to live like this, though. Honestly, I'm like,
I know
people.
we picked the wrong careers.
I know, right?
I mean, I'm a touring stand-up comic and writer and things like that, and it's like, are you making content? Are you? I'm like, I don't just want to get on stage and tell these jokes.
Right.
Were you posting TikToks of those
Oh,
jokes? Yeah,
are you on the TikTok too?
I do it all.
Oh my God.
I do it
Too
all. It's
much.
part of the job. Social media is part of the job. So it's
It is
like
part of the job.
if I like working for myself and being my own boss, I
Mhm.
get up at 8:30 a.m., 9 a.m., which is not super early and it's not super late, but for
Mhm.
comics, I guess. Like I know a lot of friends that just sleep till noon, but I mean, I get up, I drink my little coffee, and recently I've been doing yoga in my room, and then I get to the
Wow.
day, which is emails and editing video. It's like you can't just be good at the thing that you're good at anymore. Like you got to do it plus. Like late Mitch Hedberg had a joke about. He's like, being a stand-up comedian, people want to ask you if you do anything related to comedy, but it's not comedy. It's like, oh, you're a comic. Do you act? It's like if I worked really hard to be a good chef, and I got to the best of my abilities as a chef, and people are like, oh, you're a chef. Do you farm? Like it's related, but it's not.
It's so different. It's
Yeah.
not even.
So,
Oh my
but I
God.
do it all. I do it all
You do it all
At Yates Comedy on all the socials.
because that's what we have to do, all of it. So Dave was recently a guest on Time Takes Time. So if you haven't listened to that episode, I want to invite you to go back and listen to it. It was a really great episode about having fun and having more play in your life. And, I wanted to, like I always do, I like to have several conversations with people around long term recovery. Uh, 10 years, you're over 10.
Just a smidge over 10. April 23rd of 2022 was 10 years for me. So
How does
I
it
am
feel?
officially an old timer, I
Right. Like,
guess.
how was that transition for you?
Um, it's fine. Like it's a lot of reflection,
Yeah.
like we were talking pre-pod. Like I did it like I was like, how do I commemorate this in a way that like shows kind of like the trajectory of what a decade looks like.
Yeah.
So I made a vlog series on my YouTube, and you can see it on Instagram or wherever you find little clips. But it's called 10 Days Till a Decade. So I decided to do a video a day, and they're like anywhere between 4 and 7 minute videos.
Mm-hmm.
And the first five are like what it was like before I got sober, and then like some crazy drunkalog stories and about falling off of roofs and DUIs and things, and then the last five were what life was like in recovery, and kind of the culmination was that last video. And I mean, I couldn't get through that last video without crying, because a lot. I mean, 10 years is a long time.
10
It's
years is a long time without a cocktail.
I mean, any amount of time is a long time if you drink like I drink, but like I don't know, 10 years hit different than 9 or 8.
It
Like not,
does.
you get your little chip with the X on it, and you're like, oh,
Hmm.
So I mean, I feel all right, but it just also like it's all relative to what I'm currently working on. So it's like the
Hmm.
drink and the drug is not my problem today, and
Nope.
it hasn't been my problem for a very long time. So
Nope.
it's like, how do I live inside this bee's nest of a brain?
Yeah.
You
What's
know,
your problem now? What's the problem? What's up for you? What's up, Dave?
I mean, the list could go on,
Hmm.
but currently, working on grief stuff. Lost my father 3 years ago. Working
Mm.
on a little attachment stuff, like
Yeah.
attachment styles.
Yeah.
Little codependency,
Mhm.
little bit of people pleasing, just a lot of stuff that just I got my claws dug into,
Mhm.
like work, relationships, and money. Like that's just what it is. Like I'm a workaholic,
Mhm.
and money makes the world go round. And then it's nice to be in a relationship or have someone love
Yeah.
and care about you. So when those three things don't work out, it it really fucks me up.
Mhm.
In
Mhm.
learning to get down to the root cause of that stuff. Like like grief in general is something that Americans are terrible with. Just because it's like we hide old folks in old folks' homes until they die. Like there's no
So messed up.
community, like like in other
Yeah.
cultures or in other countries that are not, I guess, as advanced technologically. I mean, they had these things built in place.
Mhm.
So it's like, my father died at 59 of pancreatic cancer in 2019, and then like I didn't know how to process it, wasn't going to
Mhm.
therapy, but I got an opportunity with work where I started touring the country really heavily. So I was
Mhm.
doing 4 weekends a month, and by the time I got home, I was just so exhausted that I didn't have time to think about it. And then when the
Mhm.
pandemic happened, I had nowhere to run.
Yep.
So it's like, having to grieve someone who died. Some people will say, "Oh, so and so, she was an actress. She was 92. She gone too soon.
Mhm.
92 is a pretty good run.
Mhm.
59 is pretty young."
That's
And
young.
I'm not saying that like other people haven't lost family to
Yeah.
grief is grief. This is not the pain Olympics. Um,
Mhm.
but it 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 happened in 6 months. It was very quick from diagnosis to death, and it's just like I think that the typical models that we have for grieving are not sufficient. Like the whole 5 stages of grief, I think is a
Mhm.
dog shit model. It's because everybody grieves differently.
Yep.
And
Every single
that is
person.
the only thing I know about it. And the way I was doing it wasn't working,
Mhm.
and it made me miserable and not a great partner. So I had to go when the world, like, it was, the way I say it is like this. I'm a big imagery guy. When my father passed, it was like I was driving a station wagon with all my baggage and like 100 miles an hour on the freeway, and then the pandemic happened, and it's like I slammed into a brick wall, and all my shit got scattered all over the place, and I'm just like crying, trying to pick up all
It's
the stuff.
everywhere.
Yeah. So I got a grief therapist, which was good and helpful, and
Mhm.
working through some of that stuff, because it's like when that person's gone, like even if you've done the work and made the amends, if you're in a recovery program, it's like there's still deeper shit.
Yeah.
Like there's still deeper shit that you don't go through in the first couple inventories, because it's like in the first couple inventories you're just like, oh yeah, I stole from this person, I fought this person, I crashed this person. But then once you wipe all that out, there's other stuff. There's other stuff like
But isn't
abuse.
that the human condition? That's like life, right? Like living life.
Right.
Even if you're not in a 12-step program and
Yeah,
not a part of recovery and you're just on an emotional wellness journey,
exactly.
you're going to hit grief
Yep.
or the various stages of life,
Mm-hmm.
right? So, birth, that shakes people's shit up.
It's
Buying a
guaranteed.
house, changing a career, right?
Yep.
Like,
These are all guarantees that wait for all of us. Death waits for every one of us. And that's knowing that is that's why people avoid it. It's scary.
yeah,
It's scary. And so when it happens to you, and you feel it unjustly, it really creates inner turmoil. Like there was not enough time
you weren't ready.
to say all the shit, you
Right,
know?
right.
So like currently, like I'm writing through the shit.
Oh,
Like I'm
good.
writing through what I would say to him about the shit that I never got to bring up,
Yeah.
you know? And then that,
Has that
one,
been super helpful? Cathartic?
it's better than not doing any of the work.
Yeah,
I'm still knee deep in it.
yeah.
Even after 3 years, and like I said, the first year I didn't really even address it at all. It's not like I was
Mm-hmm.
in denial. All
Mm-hmm.
right. Like I watched him die. Like
Yeah.
it's cancer sucks. Right.
But you were
Uh,
there. You were sober, dude.
right. But like fucking the flip side of that is people will say that, but then people are like, oh yeah, I drank through my parents passing, and I regret that. It's like,
Mm.
yeah, it would have been nice to not feel that,
Yeah. Yeah.
like 10 years sober, it just means I've been raw dogging life for a decade and feeling
Completely.
all the feelings. Like, so
Yep.
it's like, I'm grateful. I wouldn't trade it, but
Hmm.
like, I'm not gonna get it twisted. Like the people that say, "Well, I wouldn't trade my worst day sober for my
Yeah.
best day drunk." No, piss off. Like I had some real fun times. Like I drank on a roof deck in Chicago for an entire summer watching sailboats. I had no
Nice.
job. I had just enough money to afford alcohol. I
Uh-huh.
partied my ass off. It was a lot of fun. Would I
Hmm.
trade my worst day sober for that day? Fuck yeah. Without consequences, I'd go back to that day. I had no
A good
responsibility.
day.
Literally, I'd buy a burrito.
Right? The days of no responsibility. Oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's just like, look,
Good
like
days.
I am grateful for my sobriety, but like
Yeah.
like shit isn't just fucking piss and rainbows,
Hmm.
And sorry, I'm a sailor. I just when I get passionate about this subject of recovery, like the actual sobriety or actual pain and actual grief, it's like
Hmm.
these are real things that people don't talk about.
I know.
Like, like regardless if you drink or don't like. I just managing feelings is not easy. And then managing feelings without an aid, like it'd be nice to drink a cocktail and reminisce and not and be, but it's just I lost that privilege a long time ago and it's something I've accepted. But if you don't like I never subscribed to like a lot of well-meaning people said a lot of well-meaning shit when my father passed. Oh well, time heals all wounds, and
Oh.
it's gonna hurt forever. Just not as fuck that. Like I subscribe to the idea that you can recover from grief. You
Hmm.
can recover from it, but it takes a lot of work. It takes looking at the person who you've lost, and it doesn't even have to be death. It could just be a relationship or a
Yeah.
marriage that didn't work out,
Yep.
and to grieve the complete person and not just the good parts,
Yep.
because I feel like that's where a lot of racing thoughts come through. It's like we grieve the good parts of the person that we've
Mhm.
lost or relationship that's gone, and we don't properly grieve all the times where they were not cool to you because that's
Mhm.
the human nature. So it's like I'm having to go through early childhood memories about my father and just putting them to rest and
So
know
good.
that like two things can be true. My parents did the best that they could and their actions severely fucked me up,
Hmm. Hmm.
and accepting them for exactly who they were in those moments. That's the work.
Is your
Like
mom still alive?
she
Yeah.
is
Are you
still
close with
alive.
her?
We're close.
Yeah.
We talk every few days,
Nice.
So, but she lives in Illinois. I live in California.
Yeah.
So, and she's cool, but I'm also going through a lot of those things, It's like, so, you take the drugs and the alcohol away, and then you realize that, sometimes the fix, manage, and control is just as deadly, uh,
Hmm.
you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, therapy, grief, learning how to be okay with me. This is coming from someone who gets on stage for a living and talks to people. I get paid for telling jokes. It's an insane career, but it's like sometimes I don't like me very much,
Hmm.
and
Does that come
working.
out in your comedy? Does that come out in your acts?
I'm not.
Are you
I'm not.
self-deprecating? Are you a deprecating comic?
Not really. Like I used to be a fat kid growing up. I used to get picked on a lot, so I don't really pick on myself on stage.
Okay.
Like I can laugh at myself for sure. Like if
Yeah.
I see an opportunity to acknowledge uh,
Hmm.
something about me, I will take it.
You'll
But
take it.
I can't. This is gonna sound completely egotistical, but I'm 6'4". I'm a good looking dude. Like what am I supposed to tear down? Like I'm not fat. I'm not. Like I look like I sell
Oh
drugs
my
because I
God.
wear a lot of tie dyes. Like that's
Hilarious.
so it's like I don't know. Like I'd rather just write the jokes about the human experience and what I see in the world around me, and I really don't hold myself to any particular like if I think of an idea and I think it's funny, I try it. I don't care how dumb it is. It
Is that a hard journey being a comic?
yeah, yeah,
Like
100%.
I've known quite a few comics over the years, and they there is uh, a quality about the
It's
comics.
called mental illness, but
Yeah.
yes.
Where I'm always fascinated how they just keep doing it. And I'm like, how do you do that? How do you
Because it's
just
the
keep
best
doing it?
feeling in the world.
Okay.
That's what it boils down to. It's the only other thing besides alcohol where I could go out tonight and have a fucking terrible set and bomb and
Uh-huh.
just be driving home like, what am I doing? I can't do this to myself anymore. And then the next day, someone will call me up and be like, hey, do you want to do this show? And I'm like, yep.
And
That's
you're
how
right
quick
back on.
you're right back. And that's the same with drinking. It's like you could have a horrible night of drinking, and then the next day, someone's like, hey, I got a free handle of whiskey. You're like, I guess we're doing this again.
Oh my God.
So I guess people are like, oh, you traded one addiction for the other. Yeah, I guess so.
So before you were doing comedy before you got sober though.
About a year. About a
Yeah.
year. I started comedy as a means to quit drinking, which sounds counterintuitive, but it was like I knew I couldn't drink anymore, but I wasn't
Mhm.
getting sober. I just was like, I can just not drink and do
Did,
all
you,
the other.
did somebody put you up to that? Like they were
Uh-uh.
like, okay,
I
you're
put.
funny. Go be a
I
comic.
mean, I always knew I was funny, and like I knew how
Okay.
to get into and out of social situations. I know how to diffuse bullies with humor.
Yeah.
All
Got it.
that stuff was already there. It's just like, and I loved comedy, and it was just,
Hmm.
I was one of those people that said I can do that. I bet you I can do that.
Hmm.
And so I went and tried it, and I wrote like 5 or 6 things on a napkin, and it was probably terrible, but I got some laughs, and I
Uh-huh.
was like, see, I can do this. And then I just that
That's
first
the
year,
arrogance, right? The arrogance of the alcoholic, which is so
yeah.
like
Well, I
bittersweet,
had
so
nothing
good.
else though. Like that's the thing. I did the college thing. I had no job
Yep.
prospects. I could always get a job and get fired from a job. I had no career. They tricked me into getting this expensive ass degree with
Uh-huh.
no line about how to get a job, and the job market was tanking. So it's like that's why you have all these people
What's
with
your
all the
degree in? What's your degree in?
English fiction. So I
Oh
write.
God.
So I technically make money with my degree. I'm a
Okay, you
writer.
do. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But it's like that tracked like it wasn't there. So it's like, I mean, I wish people would have pushed trade schools as hard as they push college to some of us. Because
Yeah.
my dad was a mechanic and made great money. And yeah, it was a hard life and he swum in chemicals and that's probably why he got pancreatic cancer. But like
Mm-hmm.
he made really great money. I know cats that are like
Was
in
he
their
happy?
he was a happy guy. Like
Yeah.
I mean, he was a very happy guy. Like he was a very
Mechanics usually like their jobs. I don't know why that is.
he could fix anything.
Yeah.
Well, because it's like it turns your brain off, like
Yeah.
from all the outside world. Like I,
Yeah.
I work on my own car,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
it's like how I commune with the old man wherever he is. And I do all my own oil changes. Anything that
Uh-huh.
I don't have to
Uh-huh.
put a car up on a lift for, I fix it and I do it. And if like I don't know how to do it, I watch a video on YouTube and I'll go slow and I'll do it. Like I know how to change my own brakes, and someone's like, "Can you change brakes for me?" I'm like, "No," because me changing brakes for me is if I
No.
screw up and end up in a ditch, that's one thing. But if I
Right.
screw up your brakes, no. Like take it to a mechanic. Stop it.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
during the pandemic, I was changing people's oil in West LA in my driveway. I said, "Hey, people's tight on money, so if you buy the
Uh-huh.
oil and the filter, I'll tell you exactly what to get. Bring it to my house, and it'll take about an hour. And you can sit on a chair 6 feet away from me, and we can
Hmm.
we can talk shit, and I'll change your oil and send you on your way." Because that's
Wow.
what my dad would do. He would just do things for people, like cost of parts. That's what it was. Like he would fix people's stuff for cases of beer. Like it's like helping without really expecting anything in return, and that's the kind of person he was. He loved life. He knew everybody everywhere. Like my networking skills came from him. We couldn't go to a town in this country where he didn't know anybody, and he was a
Wow. That's
mechanic.
cool.
He worked in the rail yards of Chicago, and he just knew everybody, and he always knew someone that knew someone that knew something.
Hmm.
So if he didn't know, he knew someone that did.
So as you've matured in your recovery and
That's debatable.
well, we do it no matter what. It's going to happen unless you're dying under a rock. You're going to evolve in your recovery. And I'm just imagining you and your dad because you found recovery and he was alive and well, and your relationship. How did that grow?
I mean, he loved what I did.
You did.
He loved that I was a comic. I'm very fortunate, but both my parents have never told me to go get a different job.
Mm.
I know a lot of comedians whose parents are like, "Why aren't you a doctor?" And they
Hmm.
have to deal with that at
Yeah.
Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
my old man wasn't like that. He told everybody, "Dave's in such and such a city this week,"
Hmm.
and Dave's, I mean, the December before he died, he drug his canceled riddle ass out to the comedy club in Aurora, Illinois. I was headlining, and I knew kind of in my head that I was performing for him for the last time, so I just did it.
Good.
So like we were cool. It's just like, but that's the thing. Like we didn't have a chance to like do shit together,
Yeah.
you know, because I was my career took me to Los Angeles, and he was
Mhm.
riding out his own career trying to make it to retirement. And that's why I tell people the most valuable lesson that has taught me and continues to teach me is you can always make more money, you can't make more time.
There's not enough time either. There's just not.
You know,
We
I
need
mean,
more time.
the most valuable thing you can give to anybody is your time.
Yeah, it's so
And
true.
and so that is kind of like that's why I do what I do. I'm like I'm not a very wealthy man, but I pay all my bills with the thing I
Mm,
love to do. And I know people who are more well off than me live in the town we grew up in, and they're miserable. All they do
mhm.
is post on Instagram the lines in their lawn. Gross. Or like, oh, Susie's got ballet medals or whatever. It's like, okay, I'm glad you can find happiness in your children, but
Uh-huh.
your life does. It looks boring to me.
Hmm.
And it's not. And I'm not trying to talk shit about the safe play life, but I took a chance to not live a safe life. This is not a
Hmm.
safe career. There is no retirement
Yeah,
plan
there's no
for a
guarantee
comedian.
on that one.
There isn't.
Yeah.
In any other industry, there's a timeline. Like,
Yep.
okay, you want to be a surgeon? And I'm not comparing what I do to being a doctor, but you want to be a surgeon, you go to school for 8 to 10 years, maybe
Oh,
12, and then when you're done with that, you got a mound of debt, but you are a doctor. If you pass all the tests and memorize all the things.
can't even.
My friend is a doctor, and we talk
Mhm.
about that all the time. It's like I signed up for a career that it might never happen for me, ever, and
Ugh.
I still scratch that lottery ticket every month, living out in Los Angeles. You know, every month. I tell everybody out here, if you're chasing dreams in entertainment, your lottery ticket costs whatever your living expenses are per month. So there's people you got $2,000 a month lottery ticket minimum.
Hmm.
You know,
So
it's scary, but it's just like I love doing it and I'm
I
good
know,
at
but
doing it.
there's something about Los Angeles. Because I remember when I landed there, there is a you want to chase it. You do want to do it. You are driven there by some innate desire, like you have a desire to be there.
Hmm.
Like not everybody goes to LA, right? Like it's not
Well,
for
people
everybody.
come here and they leave real quick too because it's
Yeah.
not easy.
Because it's
Um,
no, it's not easy. The LA will
mhm.
eat you up.
Yeah, it's
Oh
just
my God.
yeah, it's the 1 year LA beatdown. Your first year out
Right.
here, LA will beat the shit out of you. Like
So
a
true.
month and a half in, I was doing a gig in Orange County
Hmm.
and I went to go change lanes and this lady clipped me on the 405 causing a 4 car pileup. So I had to go fly back to Illinois and sink
Mm.
like a quarter of my pay, or half of my savings, excuse me, into
Mm.
buying another car. And
No.
then it was like time to Postmates and work at a sober living.
Yeah. Oh God. No.
Hmm.
Pink Dot is Pink Dot still happening there?
The grocery delivery place on Sunset.
Yeah.
Yep, I buy snacks from there when I'm over at the comedy store.
Yeah. I love my Pink Dot.
Hmm.
Okay. So you're dealing with grief. You have the spiritual, emotional awakening around this is where I'm at in my life. I have to process my father's death. You're going through it, which is a courageous act. I'm just going to say that right now because a lot of people won't even do that. What are you doing? We're going to move this into the play theme. What are you doing for fun in your life right now?
The most recent thing I've introduced is I wake up in the morning and I do yoga very
Yeah, what
terribly
when
in
you
my
said that
room.
earlier, I was like, you do yoga? What kind
I
of yoga?
do. I don't. It's not crazy. I literally have a mat in front of my bed, so I have to step over it every morning. I
Uh-huh.
turned 36 on May 27th, so May 1st, I'm like, you better do this now because when you turn
Mm.
36, it's not going to get any easier
No,
to develop a practice. So
true.
I have a little TV in my room and I throw on YouTube and I
Oh, good.
watch beginning yoga videos and
Uh-huh.
I'm very particular. I like just a regular cut and dry. This is what we're doing. Like I
Mhm.
can't have any yoga teachers that are like, we're gonna do some yummy poses today.
Oh no.
Like I
Oh
don't want to
God.
do any yummy poses. I'm like half asleep and I need coffee. Like want my back not to hurt,
Uh-huh.
right? Stacy, fucking teach me that yummy pose. The
Uh-huh.
stretch that makes my back not hurt after not doing anything. So yeah, so
So
I've been
great.
doing it every day since the beginning of May. So we're, I don't know, 17 days into this habit and I do anywhere from 5 to 7 minutes to 15 to 20 minutes. So, and I'm just teaching myself how to do it. I'm watching the videos and I'm just doing it. My buddy was very nice. He gave me his Peloton login, so I got Peloton yoga videos up on my TV, and
Nice.
like I did 15 minutes this morning, so that's been fun. Just trying to feel better about my body, and
Hmm.
because it's like January, February, I was in a deep depression, like just
Mm,
very deep. Everything just caught up with me,
yeah.
and it's. I don't know if you remember, maybe like or anybody listening remembers that movie "What About Bob" with Bill Murray.
I know that movie.
Okay, so it's the one where
Yes.
he and his therapist Richard Dreyfuss are like working together, and he has to take baby steps because he's afraid of going places and outside, so he's just shuffling his feet.
Uh-huh.
There's a scene in the movie where he's got like a life vest on, and he's taking baby steps, and like to get out of that depression, like I've had to take baby steps and be
Yep.
very very gentle with what I'm doing with myself because I can have
Hmm.
an abusive inner monologue.
Yeah.
So, like I could barely at that time walk to the post office and back. And now I'll go on 2 3 mile hikes. I rode my bike for 6 miles today and I did 15 minutes of yoga. But it took 5 months. It took
Mhm.
5 months to get here. You
But I
know,
think what's really cool, and I love that you're sharing this, is that you gave yourself the time or the space, you acknowledged it, and you just did it. Where a lot of people, they're not even there.
When
They're not there.
I had the luxury of giving
Yeah.
myself the space because of the
Yeah.
career I chose.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is
I
true.
don't, I don't, I don't intend that anybody with 2 or 3 kids that works a
Yeah.
full-time job is going to be able to like wake up 30 minutes early, and I mean they can,
They can.
but it's just like
It's a gift.
yeah,
It's a
but it's
total
the
gift.
sacrifice too. Like my life's not going to look like everybody else's. I'm
Yeah.
36. I'm single. It's me and my
Yeah.
cat
You and your
battling
kid.
life. Because it's like not everybody wants someone who's going to be gone all the time on the
Yeah.
road.
Yeah.
And it's like so I accepted that I'm not going to have that life probably. I'm
Hmm.
not, I'm holding out for it, but it's not an attractive like everybody's like people say like they want a partner who makes them laugh, but do they
Hmm.
want a partner who literally makes a living making
On
people laugh? That's
Yeah,
it's
on
the
the
it's the
road.
subtlety. Exactly. And it's
Yeah.
completely okay because
Yeah.
comedy is my number one. And no one has ever been able to trump that.
It's a
Can we even say that anymore? No one's been able to top that. Like I feel
There we
like
go.
that
Yeah.
card game is not. We can't even play euchre anymore these
I
days.
know.
But that's what it is. And like the other things I do for fun, it's just like I have the like once I decide my bullheadedness has its attributes. Like when I decide to do something, I do it. And it's like I have to just be careful because I'm also an extremist. So like I didn't
Mhm.
want to go to the gym in town after not working out for XYZ amount of years and just like
Mhm.
I'm gonna do an hour's worth of no. So I've just been gently trying to introduce better physical habits in my life. What other things I do for fun and joy? I love a thrift store. I love an antique store. So I'll go north of LA to like Bakersfield, where it's not all picked over by hipsters that run
Oh,
resale vintage
yeah.
stores.
Mm-mm.
I saw like a Bulls shirt. I'm a Chicagoan. I saw like a championship Bulls shirt for like $100 in someone's store. I'm like, good on you for making that money. But I had that shirt when it was
Wow.
probably like $10.
Yeah. No.
So like I have a
So I
record
like the
collection.
antiques, the
That's yeah,
collections.
yeah.
I like all of this. These are really good ideas, Dave. And do you watch comedy yourself? Do
No,
you love it?
fuck no. Ugh. I can never watch. I watch murder. I watch documentaries and true crime podcast unless I really like a comic or it's someone
Who's your
that I'm
favorite comic?
alive or dead.
Oh, both. Give me both now. Now that you said that.
Um, Dead Mitch Hedberg. I brought him up earlier a little
Yeah.
bit. Phenomenal joke writer. Died of a heroin overdose. So
Oh,
don't think you're going to go see him on tour if you go listen to him. But alive, he's very much alive, and you've never heard of him. His name is Stuart Huff. Stewart Huff, Huff. And the reason I spelled it out because I want y'all, whoever listens to
yep.
this, to go check out all of his albums because he is a brilliant genius of a comedian and he's super kind and funny and nice and he'll never be famous because he does these gigantic ideas like much like the later George Carlin.
Yeah. Great.
Like I mean George Carlin had to do the hippy dippy weatherman before he could do his hot 15 on abortion. you know.
Mhm.
And it's just like, but Stewart does these big, like he does this whole, like he's got an album called God Hates Anne, and it's a whole timeline about how people have been put to death for the things they've believed in
Yep.
over the years, you know. And one of them is like he's got like a little southern twang because he's from Kentucky. He's like, there was a man who suggested that surgeons wash their hands before performing surgery because it would prevent the spread of diseases. Well, he shouldn't have done that because they didn't agree with him and they ostracized him from the medical community. He was thrown in an insane asylum and the guards beat him within an inch of his life. And he didn't die from the beating. He died about a month later from the infection because the guards didn't wash their hands. So he does big
Uh-huh.
things like
Uh-huh.
that, and it's
Uh-huh.
like it's super. It makes me want to burn my notebooks. It's like, you know, like poop jokes. Yeah, everybody loves a poop joke, but this dude's like he's doing material
Next level.
that he believes in. So like
Yeah.
I could say, you know, Bill Burr and Maria Bamford's also another one of my favorites. Maria
Mhm.
Bamford's super duper funny, but I mean, I could tell you a list of people that you've never heard of that I work with that are actual
Mhm.
friends of mine that could use the extra streams, you know, or the extra, you know, ticket purchase at a comedy club.
Mhm.
You know,
Mhm.
there are phenomenally funny people out there like
Will you
Eddie.
send me them, please?
I will send you a list.
Send me a list, please, and I'll add it to the show notes.
Yeah,
Because
we'll
I'm a
send.
huge I love comedy. I will go to whatever. I'll just take me there. The guy down the road's doing something. I'm there. I love it. I just I don't know what's wrong. It's awesome.
It,
Good
yeah,
and bad. I don't
yeah, well,
care. I'm
it's
there.
I believe in how I'm providing an escape that won't kill anybody.
Yeah, that's
You know,
exactly it. Oh,
so
so many good things, Dave. Uh, I just keep going back to this idea around emotional wellness is an inside job,
yeah,
and we're going to hit different emotions at different stages in our recovery. And we have to keep coming back to this idea around enjoying our lives. So that's going to look different for everybody. But for everybody who's listening today, I want you to go out and do something fun. Go out and get a record. Go to an antique store. Uh, do do a yoga video without the warm, yummy poses. Do
I
something
mean, look,
really
those gals are
fun.
doing their deal. Okay, that's it's just, but
I
like
can't stand them either. I'm just like, don't.
I'm a very matter of fact person. For someone who tells jokes for a living, I take life pretty seriously. You know, like as far as like I just like matter of fact shit. You ask me if I watch comedy, absolutely not, because it's like I make comedy. Like why would
Yeah.
I want it? Like I love comedy, but like you can find me watching Dateline. That's you can find me watching Keith
Perfect.
Morrison, smooth ass voice, figuring out who done it. You know, because it's a palate cleanser for
Brilliant.
me. Like
Mm,
I watch comedy in person. Like I'll
yeah.
go down to the comedy store, the Improv, and I'm not even
Yes.
performing, and I get to sit in the back because I'm a comic and nobody bothers me, and I'll watch the best to ever touch a microphone. I would
Mm-hmm.
rather do that. You know, like if I was a sitcom writer, I'm sure I'd watch more sitcoms and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but it's just
Mm-hmm.
like I prefer to taking comedy live. Like
Yeah.
there's three ways to do it. There's live, which is the best. You should
Mm-hmm.
do that.
Yeah.
There is audio only. That is buying a comics album, throwing a pair of headphones in, and just listening to it from start to back. Put yourself there.
Yep.
And then the third is watching a comedy special. I mean, that's, it's fine, right? But like, I
Yeah.
don't know. Getting a track on an album or spinning an old comedy record, like it's just like there's something about that slice of time, and the audio lets you imagine what's going on.
Mm-hmm. I love it. Dave, boom. Thanks for being here.
Oh yeah.
Thanks for
Wasn't I
sharing your
supposed wasn't I
recovery.
supposed to ask you questions?
Every show is it's different.
Let's go. I'm gonna do a rapid fire of five
Okay, rapid
questions.
fire. Go. I'm here.
Favorite food?
French fries from Zuni Cafe.
Okay. Cake or pie?
Oh, pie.
All right. First concert you ever seen?
David Bowie.
Lucky bastard.
Oh,
Mine was Alice Cooper and Steppenwolf.
so
Favorite
good.
color?
Blue.
All right. Least favorite smell?
Oh God. Blue cheese.
How dare you? I love blue cheese so
No,
much.
it just,
See, this is a good place to end the podcast because Lane has crossed into territory. I love two things more than anything in this world.
okay.
One, the stinkiest cheese you can find
Oh,
anywhere. I will
oh,
go to Wisconsin to the Cheese Mart and I say, you give me the
yeah.
nastiest shit you got back there.
Mm,
It's my favorite. And
really?
then my second favorite thing on this planet is there's the National Mustard Museum on the
Oh,
north end of Madison, Wisconsin. And you walk in, and there's the
uh-huh.
store part where you can try 250 different mustards from all over the world, all different categories. And then in the basement, there's like thousands of jars of mustard from the history of time.
That's
So
cool.
yeah, I love cheese. I love mustard.
Mustard. That's so good. So if you're in Wisconsin, cheese and mustard, go do that. That's fun. Dave, I've loved hanging out with you today. Thanks so much.
Likewise. And if you guys want fun, you can find me in your city. Look me up on
Yes.
social media at Yates Comedy. And if you
Boom.
want to support me directly, I do make and sell my own brand of hot sauce. I'm a condiment man. It's called Ha Ha Hot Sauce. I sell it after my comedy shows it as
Yes.
merch. So you can go to hahahotsauce.com and find some delicious hot sauce. I've been making it myself. It's my own
Oh,
recipe
hot
for
sauce.
8 years. It's how I pay the bills. So
Oh
check
my
it out.
God. Okay. I'm getting some of that. I need that in my life. I love hot sauce. So I'm all in. All this information will be in the show notes and in the community. Come hang out with us in the community. Thanks again for being here and
Thanks for having
listening.
me.
I'll see you next time.